Hey, Tim Sykes here. I hope you're having a good weekend. I've got a lot of stuff to discuss, so just bear with me. Bitcoin is going crazy. Bitcoin stocks, supernovas. I'm giving a TED Talk right now. Um, all of you guys asking me how to access the TED Talk. Don't worry, I'm getting your messages. I'm just behind on everything for like the next, call it like 72 hours. I'll post my TED Talk when I can. Um, I also have to mention that my friend James is giving a free webinar in I don't even know how many days. What is this? I'm all the way on the other side of the world, so I'm trying to think how far from right now this is. Roughly 2 days from now. And he has this kind of crazy strategy. It's even crazier than his hair. Um, you have to be a little crazy right now if you want to make these ridiculous returns. So I'll post a link to his free webinar. I mean, he's one of the most successful people I know, and he's got these crazy little niche strategies. And, Bitcoin right now, as I'm filming this video, Bitcoin is at like 39.83 or 39.87. It just went up a little bit. Uh, it trades on the weekends. So it actually got over 4,000. It got up to like 4,100. When the stock market closed on Friday, it was right around, what was it, like 3,600? It was like 3,700. So this thing has spiked nearly 10% over the weekend when the stock markets are closed. And it's pretty sweet. So if you want to play Bitcoin stocks, many of you guys don't like Bitcoin. By the way, we have a Bitcoin DVD on Profitly. So many of you guys are messaging me like, what is Bitcoin? What's your take on it? Watch the damn DVD, guys. Okay? We've had this on Profitly. It is our worst selling DVD guide. Nobody wants to study the basics. You can actually pay for this entire guide and more because you can learn in this guide how to save 20 to 30% on Starbucks and Amazon. So forget about just trading Bitcoin, forget about learning anything. In this guide is a really rather amazing little strategy where you can save good money if you like Starbucks or Amazon a lot. And that's what this video lesson is all about. It's all about crazy little niche strategies. Many of you guys probably spend a lot of money on Amazon and Starbucks, and you don't even realize that there is a way to arbitrage using Bitcoin and save 20 to 30%. But there is, and that's sad that you don't know it. If you understand by the end of this video lesson, what I'm talking about, where it's all about these niche plays, not necessarily like big buy and hold strategies that are popular on like CNBC, but to really grow a small account, you have to focus on weird little niches. And the reason why I say this is the worst selling DVD on Profitly, it's amazing how much hate there is with Bitcoin. Like I see it like, oh, it's worthless. Oh, why would you even have a guide on this? Oh, it's terrible. It's just another asset to trade. Why is there hate for it? It blows my mind, especially when this hated upon little asset class, year to date, FYI, I don't have the greatest Wi-Fi, so this might take a little while. Year to date, if we go back to January, I mean, this thing, you can't really see it. This chart is weird, but this thing was trading under, 1,500, okay? And now we're closing in on 4,000. Pretty ridiculous gain for an asset class that is so hated. If you want to hate an asset class, why don't you hate gold? Do you know how many gold bugs there are out there being like, oh, the world is ending, invest in gold, oh, the dollar, oh, the euro, and all this bullshit. And if you look at the long-term chart of gold, it is horrendous. Okay? So if you want to hate an asset class, hate on something that has performed crappy. If you want to love an asset class, then love Bitcoin because it is the single best performing asset class of 2017. And anybody who hates on performance is pathetic, is a communist. There's something wrong with you. I got that out of my system. That said, I would not chase BITCF. This is an amazing run up from 40 cents to $1.45 in just a few days. I would not chase BTCS, which has gone from 10 to roughly 20 cents. I would not chase BTSC, which is another one and it's gone from 6 to 12 cents. The play that I'm actually in right now is MGTI because this one has been uptrending for a while. Solid base in here in the 130s. And that's where I was buying it. Now it's testing this multi-month high here in the 140s. It's also testing this multi-year high in the 140s. And this could actually be a very nice cup and handle going all the way back to last November if it can break this 140, 145 level. I don't know if it can. So I wouldn't necessarily chase this. I'm in the 130s, so I'm happy. But I think that this is a much safer chart to be long, especially because the CEO of MGT said this: MGT is the only public company in the Bitcoin field. We need a wider range of options so that the general public can participate and benefit. And he posted this on Friday afternoon, and this really kind of spiked the stock. You know, there are a few other plays, but they're, again, MGT is like the pure play. Like if you actually look at their business. Also, aside from what John McAfee says, you know, he's a little bit of a hypester. Forget the fact that he's a hypester. This is a former supernova. And this leads me to my next lesson here. Again, if you understand the point of this video lesson, type the word niche, N-I-C-H-E. And the niche is that I'm talking about, one, my buddy James's niche that he's going to be explaining 100% for free in 2 days. I'll link this underneath this video. The niche that John McAfee is talking about with Bitcoin, the niche that is Bitcoin, and, you know, former supernovas, former runners. There's still a lot of hate with MGTI. I got to knock my first millionaire student, Michael Good, when I bought this in the 130s on Friday, and he's like, I hate that stock. I hate that company. Because Michael Good is very logical, very rational. He hates hype. So he doesn't like John McAfee's tweet here, you know, that they're the only public company. Because technically, I mean, there are a few other kind of plays in John McAfee's little delusional mind. I'm sure that he does think that they're like the purest play. If he took a lie detector test, he would probably pass it. That's how delusional he is. But I don't hate on delusional hypesters. I utilize them. Okay? It's great that he tweets this. I wish more penny stock CEOs would hype up their stocks. And guess what? His shit works. Okay? This was one of the greatest supernovas in the past few years, from 30 cents all the way up to the fives. And yeah, it came all the way back down. But when you have a stock that is able to do this, and mind you, I mean, the volume was massive when John McAfee joined the company, it can start to do this again. And I'm not saying that this is definitely going to go to 5 or 4 or 3 or even 2. I'm not putting some ridiculous price targets on it. I just think that this can break the 140s and possibly go to the 150s. That was my whole goal. And now with Bitcoin up, you know, roughly 10% over the weekend, it looks more and more likely. But I really want to address the hatred because it blows my mind. How do you hate on a volatile stock? How do you hate on a hypester? I see a lot of hype and a lot of hate on DRYS. How do you hate on a stock that does this? How do you hate on this? Let me show you extended hours too. Tell me, how do you hate on a stock that goes from 2 to 6 in pre-market? This is fucking beautiful. Anybody who hates on this is pathetic. I know that there were some short sellers who were caught in the short squeeze, and I'm sorry that they're ignoring rules about shorting very low float stocks, former supernovas on Fridays. But if you ignore the rules, guess what? You play with fire enough times, you're going to get burned. I don't want anybody to lose. I don't want my worst enemy to lose. But at the same time, you do have to learn the rules eventually. You know, if you think that you're too good for rules, if you think that you're bigger than rules, if your ego gets bigger than rules, the market will drop you back down to size. If there is one thing that I've learned in the past 2 decades, it's that you must always stay humble. Sit down. Stay humble. Sit down. Stay humble. Okay? Some of you guys got that joke. Some of you didn't. But you really need to watch out if you're shorting stocks like this. I don't care how bad the fundamentals are. I don't care about their toxic financings. I don't care that the stock is down so much because they've done so many reverse splits and reverse splits and reverse splits. And so with all their freaking splits, I mean, they were never valued at 7.2 million. But at the same time, this is how just terrible of a company it is. So I don't mind calling it a terrible company. But when I see short sellers saying, oh, you should never buy this stock. I see some short sellers being like, if you buy this stock, you're helping the manipulation. Like, if you buy this stock, guess what? You're investing in a play that has proven time and again that it can double and triple in a few minutes. So I don't fault those people who went long. And I give props to a lot of my students. I actually have been in Australia for a few days. I just met one of my students. He made $1,500 on this stock with a small account. So props to you guys who are longs. And short sellers, guess what? I'm proud of you guys. Many of you have banked like 4, 5, 6 figures over the past few months as this stock has gone down and down and down. And that's great. But now, guess what? This stock can still spike. Former supernovas should not be shorted aggressively forever. That is the rule here, okay? And the same holds with MGTI. You should not be shorting this play aggressively. First of all, with like this gradual uptrending chart, no matter how much you hate John McAfee, and even though it has faced resistance in the 140s, it might very well fail again this time. But when you short former supernovas, you risk so much pain. It really would not surprise me. Even though I think MGTI can only go to maybe the 150s or the 160s, it wouldn't surprise me if it spiked to 2. I have learned to really respect former supernovas from the long side. And, I make enemies all over the place, in case you didn't realize, okay? When I was first teaching people short selling, all the existing shorts were angry at me. They're like, how dare you teach our strategy? How dare you tell everybody where the shorts are? And then I started going long more because I think, frankly, it's easier and better for small accounts and more of my students can really do it. And now the shorts are like, how dare you buy these piece of crap companies? You're no better than the promoters and the scammers. You're helping them. Short sellers are never going to be happy. That's why they're short sellers. That's why they're little trolls and they're freaks and they have more issues than most people combined. Those of you guys who are longs, I should also rip on you for a second. Some of you guys are uber longs, being like, MGTI is the future, John McAfee is the future, Bitcoin is the future, I'm just going to hold and hope forever. What I want instead of this, you have to be obsessed with it all long or all short. Like, you have these perma bears for Snapchat. Like, look at it. It just keeps going down. It's going to go to 0. And then you have some people being like, no. All the teenagers are using Snapchat. It's the future. And you only have like one view and it doesn't change. That's not trading. Okay? Go long and go short. Snapchat is not a chart that you want to go long at all. And they just reported crappy earnings in case you were, trying to ignore the chart and somehow invest based on fundamentals. DRYS has the worst fundamentals. And even though it's down a lot over the past 2 years, this little blip here, guess what? It went from 5 to 100 in a few days. So yeah, it's got some firepower on the way up. And in case you forgot it, shorts, Friday was a nice little refresher course where the thing fucking tripled on you. So don't get too comfortable long or short. Don't get too sure that this stock has to go to 0 or this stock has to go up. Just play the volatility. Okay? I have some newbie students who are making 500 to 1,000. One guy even made, I think, 7,500 on this one on Friday. If you look at, my student Roland, my newest six-figure student, when I released the video the other day, he made 9,000 on Friday, going long BTCS and BTSC. Mark Crook, my student who just passed 700 or maybe even 800,000 now at this point, he made 11,000 on Friday. I made roughly 1,000 on Friday on MGTI so far. All of these plays play the volatility. Okay, when you have a stock like MGTI, I don't know if it's necessarily going to break out. That's why I'm not buying it in the 140s. I was buying it where it was safe in the 130s. If I was wrong, I would lose like 5 cents a share. If I'm right, I might make 10, 15, 20, 30 cents a share. Better reward than risk. BTSC, all these Bitcoin plays, with Bitcoin up 10% over the weekend so far. Let's do another refresh. Let's see. It was at 39.87. Oh, 39.78. So, it's going up, but it is also very volatile. So I don't know. We'll see what happens when the U.S. stock market opens tomorrow. Just understand that it's risky to hold a play like anything that deals with Bitcoin over the weekend, because this asset class keeps trading even as the stock market is closed. So that's why, MGTI, okay, I have a good buy on it, but I have a very small position because I don't know what's going to happen with Bitcoin over the weekend, and right now Bitcoin is up nearly 10%. So that's a good sign for Bitcoin stocks tomorrow when the U.S. stock market opens. But we'll see. We still got, nearly 12 hours to go as I'm filming this video. But long story short in this rambling video, and I apologize because I'm so out of it right now, just don't hate and give up and ignore any potential investment, whether it's MGTI or BITCF, or if you're trading Bitcoin itself, or if you're, again, studying my buddy James's crazy little 1,000% strategy, where it's actually pretty ingenious once you listen to it. Be open to all volatile strategies. Be open to longs, be open to shorts. Don't be closed-minded. I see way too many people just closing themselves off to opportunity and really kind of getting in and giving in to like groupthink, where everyone thinks the same way, and that's very, very dangerous. There's no honor in everybody going down with the ship together. Learn to think different. I was a philosophy major. Maybe that explains why I'm so weird. But I want everybody to do as good as possible. And because we're all different, you can only rely on yourself. Trust me. I've tried to rely on others. I've tried to think like others. You just need to learn these strategies yourself. Pick different parts of what you like and use it for yourself. Throw out other parts, but just keep an open mind. That's all I'm asking, and understand that the mass major media and the vast majority of people in the world, especially on Wall Street, will never care about any of this stuff. And I'm very thankful for it, because, this is kind of like, I guess there's like classic rock and alternative rock. And, or if you look at like big Hollywood blockbusters where it's another fucking superhero every other day, or, something where it's like a really good indie hit, like that's very character driven. This is the real stuff. This is like the Little Miss Sunshine, the Hustle and Flow, if you like Sundance movies, or Memento. It's not Captain America. If you want to do Captain America, then you're investing in like Facebook or Amazon, which is fine. Captain America was a good superhero movie. Facebook and Amazon have done very well. But I want you to start thinking outside the box. I want you to start thinking alternative, because this is how you can really grow a small account. Okay? As good as Facebook and Amazon has done, guess what? They're not freaking quadrupling in 3 or 4 days like these little Bitcoin plays are. So don't hate on anything that can grow your account so much. And BITCF, guess what? I'm not chasing it. The higher it goes, I think the better, because I will be loving to short this. But at the same time, I'm in no rush to short it. What was that other one? Was it GBTC? It was GBTC. This is the other Bitcoin thing. And I know a lot of people that were shorting this run up from 200 to 600 here, saying, oh, it was overvalued. And it did come down, you know. But at the same time, look at it. It's right back up to new highs. So Bitcoin is real. It's not going away anytime soon. It is volatile. It is pretty freaking, scary. How far it can go and how fast it can go. I'd be very, very careful shorting this. Just like DRYS. Please, guys, be very careful on plays like this. I really hate seeing people lose money. Again, because it gives short selling penny stocks a bad name. Like, I see some people losing big shorting this, and it's like, why are you shorting this on a Friday? On a Friday! Again, this is one of my classic rules. You don't short low float stocks on Fridays because crazy stuff like this can happen. And again, if you did short the morning spike, fantastic. I mean, you can make $2, $3 a share off of that morning spike. But if you were short from here and the thing triples on you, I mean, it's a totally different perspective. So be safe. Please learn the rules. I never had anybody teaching me, so I had to learn all this stuff the hard way over the past 2 decades. That's why I share it with you. Don't short low float stocks aggressively on Fridays. I don't care how black your heart is or how cynical you are or how bad the company's fundamentals are. Understand that as a short seller, Wall Street is against you. Okay? Wall Street and everybody in it is trying to get these stocks up. That's how the Wall Street machine works. So again, this is why lately I've been doing more longs than shorts. And I think a lot of my students appreciate it. But at the same time, if this stock does spike up big again, I don't mind shorting it into a big spike. I just don't want to short it, just because I'm not a fan of the fundamentals or I'm not a fan of the CEO. A lot of short sellers short for petty, small reasons, and it opens them up to disaster, and that sucks. That is not representative of all penny stock short sellers. KBIO was a great short. Several of my top students and I were short the very afternoon. It went from 2 to 10, and we cut our losses quickly. Some other non-students did not cut their losses quickly. And they're like, well, that's why short selling penny stocks is so dangerous. If you short sell penny stocks in the wrong way, with no rules, it can be dangerous. No different than driving my Ferrari 200 miles an hour in a 25-mile-an-hour school zone. Does that mean that all Ferraris are dangerous? Or maybe you just shouldn't go nearly 10 times the speed limit. Ferraris are fantastic to drive if you go under the speed limit. So there are speed limits and there are stop signs in the stock market. And there are green lights. And too many of you guys have the green light, like on plays like Bitcoin, and you're ignoring the green light because you don't like Bitcoin for, any number of reasons. Or, you're seeing, I don't know if it probably wouldn't have been a red light to short DRYS on Friday. I didn't know what the news was going to come out, but just knowing that I shouldn't be shorting low float stocks on a Friday morning, that's kind of like a yield sign. And ignoring the yield sign when you're driving a Ferrari can be very dangerous too. If you're understanding my analogy, there are signs everywhere. And I play things overly safe. So some short sellers of DRYS will say, well, Tim, yeah, Friday sucked, but I made money month over month, year over year. Fantastic. Keep those profits. Save those profits. When there's a Friday with this low float stock, just yield a little bit, okay? I know that some short sellers can't help themselves. They just love shorting. but you don't necessarily have to go so big. You can maybe trim positions on Friday mornings. And those of you guys who are longs, take advantage of the fact that there are so many stubborn shorts and go long these plays on Friday mornings. Every single Friday morning, especially Friday mornings, but every Friday morning, you should be looking for potential spikers because this is a great example of what can happen. In BTCS, nice little morning spike and actually had a nice afternoon spike. I mean, this is a 50% return in one day, okay? And again, most people hate on penny stocks. They hate on Bitcoin. A lot of people hate on what they don't understand. Okay, they don't understand how a stock can go up 50% in one day when they're in their mutual funds, and 50% over 3 years would be fantastic. So if something can go up in one day, the equivalent of what most people invest in over 3 years, and they would love to get a 50% return, they just think it's too good to be true. But as my students Roland and Mark Crook proved, they nailed it. BTSC, what percent was that up? Yeah, I guess this was up 50%. This faded a little bit towards the end of the day. BITCF from 96 cents up to $1.70. So this is actually, like a 70-80% return in one day before the crash, and then the bounce. So you have volatility. Love it. Longs, cherish it. Shorts, guess what? Even if you short this big spike from 130 to 170, it comes down to 120. I mean, this is a nice intraday crash. No different than my LTUM short, the lithium plays many years ago. Very similar type intraday spike and intraday crash and then intraday bounce. It's the same damn patterns over and over and over and over and over and over and over. All right. I think I've explained what I wanted to say. I don't want to piss anybody off. I don't want to offend you guys. I just want you seeing all the different angles. I have nearly 1 million social media followers these days. I have more traders, more investors, more finance-oriented people hitting me up every single day than probably anybody else in the world. So I can see the angles. And I will tell you that there is no great money in closing yourself off to niche strategies. So be open-minded. Trade Bitcoin or trade a Bitcoin stock. Don't think that you have to stay long or short on any one stock. Some of the best traders I know go long and short the same stock in the same day. That's the beauty of trading. You don't have to live your life as a value investor all your life. I actually really love the fact that Roland, my student who I've been featuring lately because he turned 4,000 into 170,000. Now he's actually up to 182,000 now in 7 months, which is crazy. And his dad is a value investor. And, guess what? Like, he is crushing his dad's returns and he understands it. And it's not like he's picking like big winners like a bullshit penny stock promoter. Oh, we have a special way of picking big winners. Like, it's not bullshit. It's just following the patterns that work again and again and again. So, long story short, watch Bitcoin. It is so volatile. Let's see, what's it at? Oh, back to 39.83 right now. This is a breakout chart. Okay, so as much as you want to hate on it, maybe it is overextended. Maybe eventually it will fail. Maybe it'll crash and burn, as so many people would love to see happen. But right now, it is the single best performing asset class. And I will always pay attention to big percent gainers and any kind of asset or stock or anything that spikes up this much, because I'm just interested in, trying to profit off of it. I'm interested in learning from it. And right now, my play for the weekend is MGTI, and I want you watching this, tomorrow, and we'll see if it can break 140 or 150. I have no grand desire. I have no great expectation. If it doesn't break out, I simply will exit. It's very, very simple. If a stock or an asset doesn't do what I want, I exit. I don't get greedy. I don't get stubborn. I play it safe. But I do love these niche strategies. And again, if I'm making sense, please leave a comment underneath this saying the word niche, Niche, and I'll see you guys in my chat room tomorrow. Be ready.